Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be taking this Rubik's Cube that I bought from Walmart a couple weeks back and seeing if I can turn it into a speed cube. It doesn't turn bad to start, but we're going to see if we can upgrade it a little bit, so let's get right into the video. So I've modded some cubes in the past, but I forgot exactly how to do it, so I tried hitting mine with a hammer, and that didn't work. Realizing that this wasn't going to help me at all, I decided to alter my tactics and just hit it harder with a hammer. Yeah, that didn't work either. Before I got started with the actual modding of the cube, I wanted to get a baseline test to see how the Rubik's Cube would perform without the modding. So here are a couple solves that just demonstrate the times that the cube was giving me. I did an average of 20, and I wouldn't want to show the entirety of that day here, so here are just the ends of some of the better solves that I got. Two of the best solves were in the 10s, but I did not get any sub-10s. Keep that in mind for later in the video. I wanted to make sure that I did a good job with this mod, so in order to do a good job, I needed to use some good tools.
Alright, so I've modded some cubes before, and I have usually tended to use sandpaper, but sandpaper takes forever, so what I'm actually going to do is use this Dremel tool, and that should help cut down the time a lot. I'm probably going to end up using sandpaper towards the end just to refine all the edges, but I'm going to use this to get a nice, quick, and clean cut. Before I go ahead and sand off all the edges, let me just take apart the cube and show you kind of my idea of what I'm going to do, because I don't want to dig too much in. Oh gosh. Alright. I don't know if you can tell, but the pieces themselves actually are a little bit more, I don't know, professional than the original Rubik's. This is an updated Rubik's Cube. The original was very bad, so they have already made some improvements. There we go. Okay, we'll go with that. So taking a look at the cube itself, it actually has had a decent amount of improvements since the original Rubik's Cube. It doesn't look like you can adjust any tensioning system with the springs itself, but the pieces are much more rounded than the original. Taking a look at a corner, they actually have a more intricate design. Before, I believe it was just like a one-piece design where it was a single piece, so these were the same color, and it was much more rigid, but this has some more curves and some extra design. So this is already an upgrade from the original Rubik's Cube, but we're going to see if we can upgrade it a little bit more. Taking a look at the edge, once again it is upgraded since the original Rubik's Cube, but still could use a decent amount of improvement. My plan is to take all of these edges on the corners and these edges on the edges and to grind them down a bit and see if that helps with the turning. I'm also going to take these corners on the core and, well, like the centerpieces, and grind those down as well. So hopefully that should allow of a little bit more corner cutting, and I might make some adjustments later, but that's what I'm just going to start off with. Never forget, anytime you're using a tool, safety first. Make sure you have your safety goggles if you also plan to do this at some point. Let's get right into the grinding. Alright, I'm just going to start off with a low speed and see how that works, and we'll move on from there. Probably going to do the corners first, do all those, take a look at them, and then move on to the edges after that. Alright, I may have to switch over to sandpaper. It is hard to get, oh, that's not it. Kind of hard to get the Dremel tool in there, so I might just have to do this by hand, which will slow down the process a lot, but hopefully it's worth it in the end. See you soon. Alright, so I'm not going to be able to do the Dremel tool with the corners, so I'll put those to the side, but I will be able to use it with the edges, so I will do those first and then come back to the corners. So this is the first corner I did. This is probably going to take a lot longer than I expected. This is not going to look pretty at all when it's done, but essentially what I'm doing is just taking stuff off those edges, and that should help prevent or like decrease some resistance whenever turning. So I'm gonna try to get through these relatively quickly, probably do like a time lapse or something. But yeah, I'm gonna do all the edges now and then get the corners later. Alright, so I have all of these edges done with the Dremel tool. I might go over with sandpaper again at the end. I just have one edge left, so once I finish that, I think I'm going to move on to the core and get all of the corners on that. I'm probably not going to spend as much time on it, just smooth them up a little bit more. Alright, last edge piece, let's get it done. Alright, there it is, the last edge piece. Moving on to the core now. Alright, so I just finished up with the core. That means I now have the core and edges at least done with the Dremel tool. If you can see with the core here, I just went along all the kind of, well, like sharp edges and tried to smooth them out a little bit. It's not perfect, but it's a start, and hopefully just reduces some friction when it's turning. Alright, so I have finished up with the stuff I can do with the Dremel tool, but now I'm going to move on to using some sandpaper. Hopefully the grit is strong enough, or at least gives a nice clean edge. So I'm going to do that with all of the corners now, and probably clean up the centers and edges. And after that, we should be able to put the cube back together and see what it turns like. This could take a while. Kind of thinking back to how how most new cubes are made, I may not even have to do the corners. First off, it's gonna take forever to finish these because I don't have enough strong grit of sandpaper to get the corner. It's really hard to get in there and dig. I might be able to just touch it up a little bit around the corner with the Dremel, but I think what I'll do is I'll get the sandpaper and then just kind of smooth out the edge pieces that I Dremeled down, and maybe touch up the corner a little bit, clean up the core, put the cube back together, and see how it performs. Yeah, that should work. So I'm just taking a little bit off the corners. There's not too much I'm taking off, but it should make enough of a difference to make it turn better. So I'm gonna do all these corners really quick, and then after I'm done with the corners, I'm gonna go through and just smooth out all the other pieces. Alright, we are on to the final corner. Let's get this over with, come on. Alright, we are finally done with all that grinding. Take a look at all of this junk. I mean, that's not even half of it. I'm sure tons of it is on the floor and on me and stuff, so we're just gonna go through and clean it up really quick. Well, not that, but go through with the sandpaper, smooth them all really quick, assemble the thing, and we're gonna see how it turns. I'm so excited. Let's finish this up. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. The video's not done, obviously, but if you want to do me a favor, go ahead and like and subscribe. Let's see if we can get this video to 50 likes. I feel like that would be really awesome. I've put a lot of time and effort into this, and stick around to see what the results are. Alright, this is the last piece that I am sanding down, and then I'm going to put the cube back together. I am super excited. This took about, I think, 2 hours or so. So, yeah, super excited. My fingers hurt a lot though. They're super stiff. My knees are sore. Yeah. Nice. No! Alright, there we go. Alright, I'm gonna take this upstairs, do some solves, and we're gonna see if it turns better. Alright guys, in front of me I have the modded Rubik's Cube and a non-modded Rubik's Cube. This one I actually got a couple years ago for like a promposal type deal, and I haven't really done anything to it. I've solved it a little bit, but this is the one that I just modded. If you take a look up close, you can clearly see that the holes by the corner and the edge are slightly bigger. I rounded off all those pieces
so that should give it a little more space for turning and hopefully makes it turn a little bit better. Alright, I'm going to turn this one first. This is the unmodded Rubik's Cube, and this will be kind of the control, and then we'll turn this and see if it turns any better. Once again, it's not too bad. It doesn't turn too bad to start. I'm going to turn the modded one and see if it made any difference. I really hope so. Alright. It definitely turns different. It's a much more scratchy feel. It's hard to tell if it turns better. Let's see, is that technically more reverse corner cutting? Alright, yeah, I'd say that there's definitely more reverse corner cutting on it, so it helped in that manner. I might have to take the pieces out and clean them. There's probably a decent amount of dust particles in this, but let me throw in some lube actually and see if that helps. A couple drops of lube in there. Turn it and see if it made a difference. Alright, yeah, so the lube definitely made a difference. It turns decent, but alright, I'm going to probably take this apart really quick, clean the pieces, and then I'll do some solves.
When I did my first turns with the modded cube, I'll be honest, I wasn't that impressed. I didn't think it really had made much of a difference, but what I ended up doing was going through, cleaning out all of the cube, and then lubing it and doing a bunch of solves on it, and as you can see, it dramatically improved. One of the first solves I got was an 8.9, which is already like 2 seconds better than before it was modded. I would say that the biggest difference that the Rubik's Cube went through is that after it was modded, it caught a lot less. The corner cutting has dramatically improved since before it was modded, and the middle slices turn a lot better as well. I would say that the Rubik's Cube has improved a lot more than the average reflects. Although it certainly can't compete with the newer cubes like the GAN or MoUs, it definitely has improved. The cube itself still has a bit of a heavy feel, but there's not a whole lot I can do about that because I can't even adjust the tensioning with the cube. If I were able to, it would definitely be able to compete with some of the newer speed cubes. To conclude, I definitely say that I succeeded in my goal of improving the cube itself. However, if you were in a similar situation, I would just recommend buying a newer cube. There was a lot of effort and time that went into this, and sure, yeah, it was rewarding in the end to have the final product that I had created, but at the same point, it's probably worth just spending 10 bucks to get a cheap cube that has a newer design and works pretty well.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching the video. If you want to see my last video, you can click up here. If you want to join the 2Cube gang and subscribe, you can click over here. And if you want to see a different video, click down here. Thanks guys, and have a nice day.